Hey everyone, and welcome to After Hours here at Linda's Electric Quilters. I am super excited that you are joining me this evening. As you can tell, I am all alone in a completely different spot. Our store is currently undergoing some renovations to help us expand and add new products, so we're super excited about that. But they moved all my stuff around, and y'all know how I am about my stuff. Okay, but we are going to make the best of it tonight. If you're watching us on Facebook, please make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and follow our page. If you're watching us on YouTube, please make sure you're subscribed to our channel right down there at the bottom right hand corner. And after you click on that subscribe button, make sure you click on the little bell that shows up so you can get notified whenever we post new videos or we go live here at After Hours. You can also tell that Mom's not here. She had a very long day. So I graciously gave her the evening off. We're going to go with that. Okay? No, I'm just kidding. She did have a very long day, so I told her to go home and rest. I've got it tonight, so I'm super excited to be here with you. Ray is behind the camera looking at your questions, so if you have any tonight, make sure you throw them down in the feed so he can let me know and I can get them answered for you. Tonight we're going to be kind of piggybacking on to what we did last week, where we did the background quilting behind the Mario panel. Today, we're going to be doing some texture quilting on the Piranha Plant on that panel. So we're going to be using monopoly, which is a monofilament thread. And then we've got some templates that we've looked at before, the Baptist fan ones. We're going to use those and see how we can repurpose them on different types of projects. So it's not just a one-case use scenario with those templates. You can use them for other things as well. So we're going to head over to the machine and start going at it. So let me move over here, and we've got the machine set up. I'm on 14 stitches per inch this evening doing some of this texture quilting, and I am using that monofilament thread. It's really, really hard to see on the camera because it's so thin. This is 100 weight, but with doing the quilting on the actual printed pieces of the panel, I didn't want to have to worry about switching threads constantly between the colors, so I decided to go in with a monofilament. Now, if monofilament isn't your thing, because it isn't everybody's, you can come in and you can change the color, or you can do one color throughout the whole thing, completely up to you. We are going to start off on the tube. They're called tubes, right, Ray? Ray's a Mario person.
Pipes.
Oh, pipes. We're going to start off on the pipe by adding a little bit of ribbon candy texture, because when Mario or any of the other characters jump in the pipe, you end up going down it to another thing. So that ribbon candy can give you that idea of that motion going through that pipe. Anytime you're adding any different type of texture, you want to help add to the actual design there instead of kind of throwing it off. So when you or someone else looks at it, you're getting the idea of what's actually going on that panel. So we're going to come over here again, 14 stitches per inch. I'm going to pull up my thread. I got a question in the feed about what monofilament am I using. This is Monopoly by Superior. And then I think there was one other question. What tension are you using, more or less? Oh, great question. So when using monofilament, one thing is you do want a larger needle. You don't want to get a super small needle. You'll see different things on that. I'm using a 4.0. Sometimes you'll see on the packaging to go down to a 3. I would want to stay at about a 4 on that. And then you're also looking at loosening your top tension. You're going to have to loosen that top tension and then probably tighten up your bobbin just a hair to help compensate for that. And then I had one more question. What was it, Ray? Didn't you have one more? I thought you showed me one more. Oh, what bobbin thread? I'm still using the same bobbin thread in here that we were using before. I've got glide in the bobbin because we were using glide on top. Last week, you could do a bottom line or a sew fine in the bobbin as well. But the glide works just fine for me for this project and what I'm doing. So let's jump right. Y'all got a lot of questions tonight. I like questions. Okay, so we're coming in with just that ribbon candy, which is just that back and forth motion. Feel free to keep throwing in those questions, and Ray will let me know. He'll probably have to read them to me going forward so I can pay attention. All right, here we go. So that ribbon candy is just that back and forth motion. You're kind of determining the distance you want on that. You don't have to do them as tight. You can do them really close together, really far apart. Completely up to you. And we're just bouncing back and forth on this. And ending with our one right out here. So we talked about earlier kind of repurposing our Baptist fan templates. One side of them is great for straight line quilting. So we are going to use that straight line section to travel around to whatever next piece we want to do. So I think I'm going to travel to the leaves, and we're going to do the leaves next. So I can use that as a nice straight line. I'll pause with my needle down and I'll turn it. And travel up. Okay, let me get over here real quick and we will get looking at that. So I'm traveling all the way around this pipe, one to give the bottom of it, but we're gonna come up the top of that and then around and down. Instead of cutting through, we wanna make this pipe still look like it is the pipe that it is, instead of cutting through and ruining that vision of what it is. So I'm just pausing and going. Whenever you're working with templates, it's really nice to have your needle down function turned on if you have that. It will really help you. So you can stay in that exact same spot wherever you left off. But again, repurposing our templates here, which is really, really nice. We've already got the nice set of the Baptist fan templates. We might as well use them. All right, so coming in here to the leaf, I guess the spiky leaf. What we're gonna do here is basically echo within the leaf itself, and then when we get to the green, we're gonna give it some vines to really give it that extra texture. And I know Ray said we had a question. What you got, Ray?
James 6 said he tried glide for the first time this week. The bobbin thread required him to tighten down to 250 on the gauge and the top as loose as possible to get the tension to work. Is this okay?
As long as you're getting the stitch that you're wanting, yes, you're going to be fine. Each machine is a little different with how it reads slippery threads like glide. So play around with that tension and get it exactly where you are. Now, once you've got that 250 number on your gauge, remember that so in the future you can easily bounce right back to it. Your top tension shouldn't have to go all the way loose, so I would check your threading on the machine. But I have seen the bobbin tension go to 250 on certain machines. Great question. So here we're just following the natural flow of what's already on the panel. Panels are a wonderful freehand tool because you already have so much to work with. You can honestly just follow the design that's already printed. And I'm just adding in a couple of echoes in this. But the difference in design that the quilting gives it just by adding in that same amount of texture is amazing. We're going to travel up in here. I think I'll go ahead and give it the vine, the stem first, and then we're going to travel down and then spike off. And then I'm going to get you a zoom in on that. Give me just one moment, folks, so you can see exactly what's going on. It's a little harder to see it with that monofilament thread, but I will get you a close-up once I'm done with the spike so you can really see it. But just bouncing back and forth. As you go. We'll come back into here, and then I'm gonna travel down. Oh, yeah, they can see my fingers. Down and then over the top of this, and then we'll travel back up to do this leaf. And once I have that leaf done, then I'll give you a nice close-up view of the quilting on the leaves themselves. Because again, I know it's a little hard to see with that monofilament just because it's so clear. So coming in with our template again, we're going to travel down. Once I get to this, I can use the arcing section of this template to kind of arc over because this has a natural arc to it. And then flip it back and then travel up. And then we can just cross in. And then this is where we get to come in and play with the quilting on the leaf. Again, just following that natural flow. And don't forget, I will give you a close-up once we're done, so don't worry. Okay, so we finished the echoing on the outside. These kind of remind me of doing like the hollies, those Christmas hollies, so you can kind of get that same flow. If you want to use a template to have your arches, feel free to do that. Like in the Baptist fan, you got that really small one that you can use, so you can use that, or you can just go for it. We're going to travel down to make the stem, and then we'll branch off from the stem after that. So down for the stem to the point, back, and then spike off to the sides. And I'm not following directly back on that stem line for overstitching because each leaf is a little bit different. So it's just giving it some extra character. Just like that. So I'm going to get you a close-up real quick. Stay steady with me, folks. There we go. Ooh, look at that.
And while you're showing the close-up, I got questions.
Oh, you got questions. All right, Ray.
I have a question from D.
answers.
Heiner. Would nets help glide tension?
Nets would help glide tension. They just add, so a thread net goes on the cone itself. Let me grab one real quick so I can explain it. Good question. D. Heiner, I bet I know who that is. Mom. She's at home watching me. So this would be a cone of glide, and this is a thread net. Oops, sorry, I'm super zoomed in. Thank you. This is a thread net, and what it does is it goes on the glide to help it evenly come off the cone. With slippery threads, when it's coming up off the cone, it can slip down and sometimes get caught. So if you have that thread net put on it, I'll show you what that looks like. And then also having proper thread net on is a big thing too. So you put that thread net on it. Make sure your thread net is nice and flat on your cone, and pull that thread net back to where the top of the net is just under the bottom kind of curve of the thread right there. Let me see if I can get, there you go, curves down, so just right under that. And then you're going to tuck the rest of your net underneath the cone. That way it can just stay there and not accidentally travel up. Sometimes if you don't tuck that under when you set it on the machine, your thread can get caught in the net and it just slowly travels up and it ends up in your tensioner. Ask me how I know. So that thread net then just allows the thread to evenly come off. It's something to definitely try. It's normally when you're not getting it tight enough, or if it's having loops or issues, you hop in with a thread net. But it can help with tension as well.
Awesome. I also have a question from Marie Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
Is it true you can't use monofilament thread in a dryer even in low heat after washing the quilt?
That's a really good question. It depends on which monofilament you're using. So like monopoly by Superior is an actual polyester monofilament, so you can use it in the dryer, low heat. I would always use low heat on a quilt. You can use that in the dryer without an issue. Certain ones that are nylon can give you an issue with melting, but there's not very many of those on the market anymore. But like I said, monopoly is a polyester, so you can use it without a problem, washer and dryer.
Awesome. And final question from D. Heiner again. Where can I get the Baptist fan templates you're using?
The Baptist fan template set is available on our website, www.longarmsupplies.net. The monopoly is as well.
That's all the questions.
Thanks, Ray. All right, so I'm going to travel back up this, and we are going to do some texture quilting in the stem of the piranha. This is the piranha plant. Would that be the throat of the piranha?
The stem.
The stem still? Okay. He's the Mario expert, so I gotta make sure I stay true. All right, so we're traveling up there. Now, with this texturing down, it's the same idea as ribbon candy, but you're not keeping them equal on both sides. You're gonna kind of move it around, do some longer, some shorter, to help give it the idea of, one, the length here, but it kind of gives it a texture like a wood grain effect almost. You're just curving it instead of spiking it like wood grain naturally looks. So we're gonna come in here and we're just gonna drop down, and I think I'm gonna hop into cruise on this one. And what cruise is gonna do is when I slow down, it's gonna turn on the manual non-stitch regulation function. So then I'm still keeping the machine moving, I'm not having to fight the regulator. Like that. All right, let's get a close up on that too. I think we can see that now. I'll get a little closer. Like that. So it's gonna just give you that kind of natural, looks like a, what's that thing called? Mitochondria. Mitochondrion? Yeah, there you go, in the cell. Thank you, I know, I went to school. Paid attention. All right, so just kind of giving you a little bit of texture there, not too much. If you have a stitch, if you don't have like a coast function or a cruise function on your machine, you could just turn off your stitch regulator and you would in manual mode just at a slower speed. But it's a lot easier to do really small intricate stuff like that without using as much of your stitch regulator, just because it's going to keep you from fighting that stitch regulator as much. Okay. Now we're going to move to the big part of the Piranha Plant. All right, so I'm going to come through and kind of do more or less the stitch in the ditch around the whole outside section. And then we'll come in the red and kind of play around. I think we're going to end up just meandering in the red, and then we'll do some fun circling and echoing in the polka dots. So I'm using one of my arch templates. Oh, let me turn cruise back off. That's not fun to do with templates. And I'm just gonna arch my way around this. Are we good, Ray?
Yes.
Okay. Slowly working around as I need to. And some of these are more straight lined, so I could flip that around and move around. Just stopping and starting as I go. Well, now it's going to be a little bit more of a spiky tooth, but that's okay. So if you don't have templates as well, you could also just come in with a straight freehand. Templates just give you that ability to really follow something. Like that. Yeah, no, that's not going to work for me. We're going to need a template. A little bit more secure. Another great use, kind of thinking outside the box for what else do you have in your template closet. I don't know why I paused right there. Working around. And it does not have to be perfect, folks. It really doesn't.
Mine does.
Well, yours does. But it's a design choice. It's a design choice. Oh, you know what would be better? If the grip dots were on the bottom. I was wondering why it was sliding. Oh. we go. Okay, so now we're going to hop in. I think we're just going to meander in the red, and then we're going to do some fun stuff in the white. Now, when we get through our meander and we get to a white section, let's go ahead and do that so we're keeping the machine moving at a constant pace instead of stopping and tying off, just to keep it all one section. So I'm going to bounce through here, and we're going to do a tight meander. A tight stipple, I guess, at this point. We get to one of those white sections. What we're going to do here is kind of, for these, we're just going to kind of crescent shape it, the C back and forth. When we get to more of the circle ones, we're going to spiral in and spiral right back out. We've got a good view of that. Perfect. Okay. So we're just going to crescent it back and forth. And then we can echo our way back out and then continue on with our meander. So this is going to be a really tight one. Big thing with stippling to remember is try not to get into a pattern, try not to cross over, and try not to have any points. All right, so here we are with this one. We're going to just go back and forth. And then I left some space, so I'm going to travel back to fill in those gaps. Just adding extra texture. And then we're back into that meander. Now for this one, I don't want to cross over too much. Can we see? Yeah. So for this one, what we're going to do is do that spiral effect. We want to leave a little bit of a path to keep moving over to that section. So again, I will give you a final zoom in once we get this done, so don't fret. So this one's going to be a spiral in and then a spiral back out. You can do a couple extra spirals if you miss a spot, no worries. And then you go back in, remember that you left yourself that little place to travel. And then this one will be our final crescent. Right to there. Perfect. I'm going to pop this off and I think I'll hold it up a little bit more. So let me give you a better visual of what we're working on again. Stay steady with me, folks. There we go. Coming down. There we go. Light off. You can see it a little better. Uh-oh, not that light. Doing this all one. There we go. Much better. So you have that little stippling in the red. You've got your spirals, your crescents to fill in that section. Looks really, really cool. All right. I'm going to come back over. And we'll place you on. Almost done on that one. And it just adds just such a different look to it. We'll do one full over when we're done so we can get a look, but I just think it looks super duper cool. Now for this one, this is going to be an echo type thing too. We're just going to basically be traveling around this space. There's a couple of different ways you could come at this. Maybe we won't do that. I'm thinking. Ooh. No, it's technically one piece, right? There's not a split line right here, right?
No.
Technically.
I mean, technically not in the design.
Not in the design, okay. We'll follow with what's on the panel. I thought it would be cool to kind of start from the center here and then travel out with like loops to like give it the idea of that, but if it's not in the design, we're not going to do that. We're going to travel around with our echoes. So, we're going to hop over and we're just going to echo around this, giving it a little bit of texture. Kind of like a walking path almost. And I'm just traveling around in a circle. Ooh. Ooh, I like this. This gives us some fun movement. Now, we're going to go backwards again so we can get to the outside of this instead of cutting. So we're going to go backwards. Actually, I think I want to jump. I don't want to do any more than that. I think that's fun. That's like ghosts.
Yeah.
They kind of like spew out like the screen thing. All right, we're going to jump right over and we're going to do the teeth actually next. We're going to go ahead and just jump. We'll tie off. And then I'm going to jump over. Y'all know me. I just kind of go with the flow as it works. All right, for the teeth, we're going to give it nice straight line designs to give the effect of them being super duper duper sharp. So we're doing that with a template. So just back and forth. You can curve it at an angle to get different sections of the teeth, maybe the grains on the teeth. And then we're going to travel over to the next tooth. Starting from the center, we'll go straight down and back. How are we getting on? I think my hand's in the way. I'll do this side of it. You're going to do straight down and back, and then you're going to arc it, your template, to give yourself a different design, staying in that same spot, but creating grains and points for the teeth. Traveling our little section to the next tooth. From the middle, you'll go straight to the tip of the tooth, back, and then you're going to arc it, or I guess turn it, not arc it. That could be confusing. Back and forth. Now we've got a long way to go to the other side, so we're going to travel over there. Traveling around to the center of our first tooth. Can grab our smaller set. I love multi-purpose. When Ray and I were setting up for this live, I grabbed a different template and I saw these sitting on my little arsenal of templates and I went, ooh, we gonna repurpose things tonight. One thing I don't know if I said, I am using a ruler base. That's very important when you are doing template work, so make sure you have your ruler base on. Makes you to have a nice flat surface to work on. And we got one last tooth. And then we'll bring up the camera so you can get a good visual, and we'll do a full-on go through. We'll go the other way. Perfect. All right, I'll tie off and I'll move this machine so we can get an idea of what we did. Do another single stitch and pull up that bobbin thread so I can trim it away. And I'll just set it over here to the side. We'll trim that thread later. You know that bugs me, but we'll trim the thread later. Ray's coming with my scissors. You know, as many times as I've done this, y'all would think I might have had scissors right here.
I can't.
All right. So we'll keep it right about there. It's going to give you the best shadowing. Oh, that looks so good already. I don't even have to move the camera. That looks so cool.
I'm very happy with my Piranha Plant.
I'm glad you're happy with your Piranha Plant. You didn't really have much to say. All right, let's get y'all an up close so you can really see the design. So in those teeth, we gave it that extra points all the way around. We got this kind of wobbly walking path, ghost movement. I like it because it adds just that extra texture. It really makes it look like this is opening up really fast to grab Mario and Luigi. We did the stippling in the background, and then we had kind of our back and forth here with the C's and then the spirals in. We did that really nice tight grain effect to add texture to the stem. The echoing on the actual design itself of the leaf with the stem right down in the center with the veins. And then we did some really fun ribbon candy work on the pipe to create the texture on this Piranha Plant. I'm so happy with this. This looks so good. All right, we're gonna put this back up real quick.
Galen Talbot has is asking if you have any tips because her thread keeps breaking no matter what she does. She has a mega quilter.
Depends on what thread. That's the first question. I would first start off with, I always go with a rethread of the machine and a double check of the different tension mechanisms or different things like that, to always do a quick run through of what we are doing. Give me just a second.
In the meantime, Janet Quilter wants to know if you need to use thin bobbin thread.
Really, really good question. If you can use a little bit of a thinner bobbin thread when you are working with the monofilament, but you could also use the 40 or kind of whichever one you're wanting to do. Sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties here real quick, so I'm trying to make sure that I'm good. Okay, there we go. All right, life is good. Am I back? I'm back. Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know. It wasn't switching the camera, so I was having a full-on conversation with you, and Ray was like, they're still looking at the Piranha Plant. But rolling back to the tension question about the thread breaking, I would, if you're using cotton thread, I would be adding a silicone lubricant to the thread, like Isa thread that we sell here at LAQ. It's going to add moisture back into the thread. Cotton is a natural fiber, so it's going to dry out over time. But if you add that moisture back into it, it's non-staining, doesn't hurt the quilt or the machine, helps reduce lint too, and it's really going to help on breakage. You could use it on cottons and polys. I would probably start there, rethreading the machine, a little bit of a loosened tension too, and go from there. We good? All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us tonight here at After Hours and taking a look at how we added texture to the Piranha Plant on our panel. I will see you next week here at After Hours. Bye.